And welcome to the recording. Hello, everyone. For the few friends that made it here live, but most of all for the hundreds of you that registered from our global BrainSHIFT community, the answer is I'm not sleeping well. What do? I call it coronasomnia because we may or may not have been sleeping well before the pandemic, but chances are in the last 18 to 20 months, your circadian rhythm or brain's biological clock got disrupted and you're having difficulty falling asleep, you're having difficulty staying asleep, or you may sleep a lot or none at all, and you wake up just feeling so exhausted and a brain fog. What's going on? We call it the busy brain. And that's why I want to invite you here. So for those of you that are here live, just type in the chat what city you're coming from. And I want to get started. Let me start by introducing myself. For those of you that are going to be watching the recording, for those of you that have been here live, I recognize all of your names and you have been here many times before, and I look forward to being of service. The benefit of you being here live, aside from you get to see the light just turning on and off here for my equipment, that's what happens when we're at home. Oh, let there be light. Yes. All right. Is that, and gosh, somebody coming in. Hi, Georgia from the United Kingdom. I'm so honored you're here. And I am going to talk to you all about it. The first step is to take the busy brain test at drromie.com/test. For those of you that are here live, I want to take a special shout out. Charles has been coming to every single one of these. And 2 months ago, he started with a score of 73, which is dangerous. Brain strain category, physical symptoms. He has been coming here regularly and every week does another step that we discuss. And look at that. You're dropped down to a 30, which is normal, Charles. And we're so excited. You're going to be the first person I email personally to join the BrainSHIFT group coaching program that is launching to the VIP waitlist next week. We are so excited and I'm honored for you all. And thank you so much, Alyssa, for being here from Vancouver and British Columbia in Canada, and Georgia, all the way from the United Kingdom in Newcastle. So, and thank you for sharing your scores. I'm here to address it all. The benefit of you being here live is you're asking me questions. I give you a personalized solution of what to do. But let's get started. I know some of you are watching this webinar for the first time in the recording, or you're here live. So I was introducing myself. I'm Dr. Romie Mushtaq, founder of the BrainSHIFT Institute. And I think for the last few years, I've been researching the busy brain, not just because I'm a board certified doctor in neurology and integrative medicine, bringing Eastern and Western medicine together, but gosh, because I too suffered a busy brain and didn't know what it was. I thought like you just wear stress as a badge of honor as a doctor working over 100 hours a week, until in 2010, I ended up burning out, getting so sick that I had life-saving surgery. And I remember laying in that hospital bed thinking, oh my God, no tool that I have learned as an adult or in medical school is going to help me get out of this. Like, what happened? How did I get here? And I think that's the number one thing I hear from all of you that have been coming live or that I meet in corporate workshops or on our email list or on Instagram or on Clubhouse is, how do I get out of this, right? The last 20 months, like, I don't recognize what's happening to me, Dr. Romie. Why is my mood off? Why do I think I have adult onset ADHD? It's like multiple browser windows open on my multiple screens and in my brain, and nothing is getting done. So let's pause and just give yourself a little bit of grace and understand that it's normal for a success-driven professional to have a busy brain. And you're a part of my crew because we're like that. I'm not one of those people that's going to sit here and tell you, pause, slow down, breathe. You need to calm down. No, we're unapologetically type A. We don't want to be told to slow down. Am I right? Type in yes if that resonates with you in the chat. But what I do want to do is teach you how to harness your busy brain through the BrainSHIFT protocol so that you wake up energized, you stay focused, you can quick shift between tasks all day, and you're sleeping peacefully at night. Because the truth of the matter is, we're part of the same crew. You and I get more done in one day than the average American worker or worker in Canada or the UK does in 2 weeks. And I need to keep your brain moving fast and focused, like Fast and Furious in the movie. So this is the interactive part of the webinar or the recording if you're here. I'm going to share screen and slides because you know I love to do that. And for those of you that are here the first time, welcome. I just want you to take one step away today to restore your sleep, your sanity, and your sense of calm, right? So we talked about a busy brain and what happens. Your airport traffic control tower in your brain or your amygdala, it gets hijacked. And we know the stress hormones get elevated, right? And now all of a sudden you have racing thoughts at night and you're sitting there going, I'm not happy. What's missing in my life? Let me stress, obsess, and worry about my to-do list. And the cycle goes on and on all night long, right? Well, what's actually happening here? There's stress hormones like glucocorticoids and dopamine and adrenaline that should really be at its peak first thing in the morning if your biological clock in your brain is working. And that's the goal of BrainSHIFT. Get your biological clock in your brain back in order. But instead of being peaked in the morning, they're peaked at night and you're like, I can't sleep. And then you're anxious during the day and you can't focus. And it just goes on and on and on. So many of you have seen this slide if you're in our workshops, but that's what's happening. So for those of you that are here live, I'm so appreciative of you. I'm going to go quickly over the 3 types of coronasomnia, or the 3 types of insomnia pattern that I've researched and found from working with hundreds of teams virtually, like all of you, since the pandemic started in April of 2020, when we went into lockdown and people started to call us that, hey, Dr. Romie, present to our company live. Well, here you are. There were 3 patterns of sleep disturbance we found. So tell me if you're a number 1, a 2, or a 3, or a combination of them. And then I'm going to tailor this talk today to you who showed up live. Pattern number 1, I have difficulty falling asleep at night. Pattern number 2, you wake up in the middle of the night and you can't get back to sleep after 10 to 15 minutes, right? You've heard it often if you've been coming here. My dog blames me for disrupting his circadian rhythm as a dog and wants to go to the bathroom and then play in the backyard in the middle of the night. And I wake up, right? And then I blame him and he blames me. So what is it? So if you're pattern number 2, drop that in the chat. You wake up in the middle of the night and you can't go back to sleep. And the 3rd type of coronasomnia or disrupted sleep pattern is you slept all night, whether it was disrupted or not, and then you wake up feeling absolutely exhausted. So those are the 3 patterns I'm going to minimize right now and just take a look in the chat. Where do you fall? Type 1, type 2, type 3. Okay. Yes, even when sleeping, you have stressful dreams. Yeah, and you can't get rid of them. Thank you for sharing that. Often 2 and 3. Okay, all right. Well, let me see where you are. And I see Charles, who's been coming here. Congratulations, your cravings for your sweets have been gone. Yes. And you got 2 nights of 9 hours of sleep. Yes. And you've been coming here. So you've been tinkering 1 week at a time of what to do with your supplements. Outstanding, Charles. Way to go. For those of you that aren't where he is, I'm going to do that. And at any time, if you have a question, drop it in the Q&A below. And my team member, Mandy, who is awesome sauce, is here in the background. Okay, you're 2 and 3. So I'm seeing a lot of 2 and 3s. Let me just go quickly then through type number 1. This is, I have racing thoughts at night. Chances are, if you've been in one of my corporate workshops, you've been a part of our BrainSHIFT community for a while, that you've seen me even speak live, you have heard me say the importance of digital detox and a brain dump. Chances are, if you're on this webinar, like you're like, girl, that doesn't work for me anymore. I need something more. But remember, this is just a gentle reminder. Set a regular time to sleep. Try the digital detox and do the brain dump, which is the pen and paper and writing it all down. If you think it, ink it, right? If you think it, ink it. But then let's go to next steps. Why is this still happening? Well, as I mentioned, your biological clock is off and your energizing wake up, go hormones are peaked at night. It's like your biological clock is turned upside down and we need to correct that. And so here are a couple of supplements that'll help, again, the digital detox, because it ain't going to help if you buy some bougie expensive supplements and then you're scrolling and trolling or revenge scroll at night, right? So this includes your e-readers, your smart TVs, a laptop, whatever you're binging. I know Billions just came back and Sex and the City is coming back to HBO, but like, no digital devices, right? This is where taking 5-HTP and magnesium glycinate will help. So that's for those of you. Most of you are here live. This isn't, but just for the people watching the recording. Here's pattern number 2 that a couple of you are relating to. You're waking up in the middle of the night and you can't sleep. Help! What happens? This is also a dysregulation of your biological clock between 2 to 4 a.m. By this time, your hormone levels should be calming down, and we're giving your thyroid gland and adrenal gland a time to reset and rebalance and be ready for the morning and the day ahead. But something happens and your stress levels are peaking in the middle of the night. It's why you wake up. And some of you, because you are part of the brainSHIFT crew, you're like me, we're high functioning. You wake up at 2:37 a.m. and somebody just said in the chat, I'm thinking about my problems. You're actually thinking of solutions. Why? Because the house is quiet, you're not looking at your emails, and all of a sudden you have a chance to process your busy day that gave you a busy brain, and you're thinking of solutions, and you're really tempted to get up and start writing emails, start, doing the laundry and all the other things you're behind on. Don't do it, right? Why is it happening? And this is key. Typically, for men and women, I start looking at hormone imbalances. Now, the minute I say hormones, you're like, girl, I knew it. It's perimenopause early. My testosterone is low as a man. No, I look at your thyroid and cortisol levels first, and we correct those. Are you drinking alcohol? I asked you, and if you've been here before, I asked you for the next 7 days. And I want you all to mark it in your calendar. And Mandy's going to put the date and the time in the chat next Tuesday, which is, and I'm looking at the chat, for those of you on the VIP waitlist, we're having a special invitation only going through the entire brainSHIFT protocol with you next Tuesday, the 21st at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. You have to be on the VIP waitlist, which most of you here are live. I know you are, but we go through this. Your hormones are imbalanced, you're having alcohol, and that's going to cause, even though it helped you take the edge off and fall asleep, it's spiking your cortisol in the middle of the night, or your blood sugar is dropping, right? We have a YouTube video this last week of 6 things sabotaging your sleep that I will ask you to watch. And Mandy is here online and she can drop that link, Mandy. It's last week's YouTube video from my YouTube channel. Yes, Auntie started a YouTube channel. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers. I'm excited. And the last one, so what do? If you're number 2 for the next 7 days, I want you to cut your alcohol down or just cut it out completely, limit your caffeine until noon, and try the 5-HTP to get you through the night. Now, for those of you that just were on here live and telling me, oh my gosh, Dr. Romie, I'm having vivid dreams that are really stressful, you're going to have even more vivid dreams with the 5-HTP. I'm going to go over those supplements in a second. The rest of you fall into this, and this week's YouTube video that is already released and going out on the newsletter tomorrow is talking about what to do if you're exhausted and you wake up feeling exhausted. This is your biological clock is turned upside down. Something is going on with your brain and your adrenal glands that, like, when you should wake up naturally in the morning. So sunrise here is between about 6:45 and 7 a.m. in Florida, where I am. I naturally start waking up with the light and the sunlight, right? I give my dog credit. He does too. I think his biological clock in his brain is healthier than mine because he eats his bougie gourmet food. And some days I'm eating bachelorette food, just teasing all here. But for those of you that are have fur babies at home, I know you'll appreciate this. I love seeing the pictures of your dogs and cats on Twitter and Instagram. So keep sharing them. But really what's happening here is your cortisol levels, adrenaline should be highest in the morning and naturally waking up. And then you go out and you see the sunlight and it should like peak it even more. When that's not happening, right? You're going to wake up exhausted. You're going to chug coffee and maybe it gives you a little cortisol caffeine boost, but not. And now you're like, energy drinks, what do I do? This is where you definitely belong in the brainSHIFT group therapy coaching sessions that we're going to start. And, we will also offer additional chances to just work with me one-on-one. This is where I give you a lab list, and no, I'm not going to give it to you now. And if you email me, because you need to be in the program and sign the medical waivers and the HIPAA waivers, you go to your primary care doctor, you get the lab list from me, you go to your primary care doctor, you submit it. and then you come back and I'll interpret the labs for you. Is that how that works, right? But here are the things, because if I just gave this to you for free now, your doctor is going to be like, what, you saw this with Dr. Romie on a webinar? Well, I'm not going to do these labs. But if you're in the BrainSHIFT at Work program or protocol with us for the next 6 weeks, we will look over those labs for you. So here's what's typically causing it. Again, alcohol is robbing you of magnesium. It is depleting, causing leaky gut, leaky brain. But low vitamin D, as in D3 levels, low vitamin B, anemia, and thyroid issues. So this is the next step for you. And our labs cover all of this. So this is key. If this is you, and a few of you said this live to me here today, I want you to sleep for longer periods. It's time to make a visit with your primary care doctor and get full labs checked. You get the full functional integrative medicine lab panel from me when you sign up for BrainSHIFT. So Mandy is putting the link in the chat window. If you're watching the recording, the link is here to get on the VIP waitlist. I'm only taking 50 people in to BrainSHIFT at Work. We're launching in October, 50 people, so you can get my one-to-one attention, undivided attention all through the month of October to join this. So if you're on the VIP waitlist, we have over 50 people on the VIP waitlist. So just get on the list. You will get the first invitation. You'll get to watch a live webinar where I walk you through week by week what we're going to do and what labs we check. So you're going to get it all if you're on the VIP waitlist. And you can go and try to figure out on your own based on one webinar, or you can do it in group coaching with us. So that's how that's going to work, right? I want to get in a little deeper with the supplements. You've heard me say this before. This is the one area. Please don't be the cheap auntie like my relatives are, that I sometimes turn to and, oh, let me just buy what's on sale. Oh, let me get the cheapest magnesium on Amazon or at Walgreens or Target. No, don't do that, because that's probably magnesium oxide that was meant for constipation, and you're going to have loose stools. You're not going to sleep, and you're not going to feel good, and you're going to be upset with me. Do not do that. Magnesium glycinate is really the key. If you have regular digestion, meaning you're not constipated, you don't have loose stools, magnesium glycinate. Magnesium is calming. It helps every chemical in our brain kind of reset and helps the chemicals that need to reset your biological clock. And it's also very sedating to help you fall asleep at night. Pattern number one. If you have a little bit of constipation, get the magnesium citrate. Take it before bedtime, starting at about 100 milligrams is a great place to start. If you have more questions, totally drop them in the Q&A. I'm going to get to your questions. I try not to do all the talking. But here's the next one, 5-HTP, 5-hydroxytryptophan. It is a precursor to serotonin, and it breaks down into melatonin. Start with 50 milligrams at night if you weigh under 170 pounds, and if not, 100. And just remember, you're going to have vivid dreams. Please do not combine this with alcohol. Do not combine it with antidepressants unless the doctor is taking care of you. I dive in deeper and give you a personalized busy brain supplement solution inside the BrainSHIFT program. I mean, Mandy will probably agree with you. We've ran this for numerous companies already. I find that most of you arrive with way too many supplements in your cabinet. I want to streamline it. You're too busy to have too many supplement bottles. Am I agree? So I want you to be able to just take what you need for the maximum punch. I need you to sleep first and foremost. BrainSHIFT, SHIFT, the BrainSHIFT at Work program. S stands for sleep, which is what we're going over now. When you join it, we start the 7-day sleep challenge right away. Number 2, H is for hormones. We look at that. I, inflammatory markers. F, we talk about food and how you're going to fuel yourself. And T, the role of technology. So we go through micro habits every week for 6 weeks, and you get your labs looked at by me. So you want to join the wait list if you're not there already. Now, I know most of you have come here and you have been here before, and I'm going to take a moment and go through the chat, but please, let me know what questions you have. I'm going to take a moment and again to celebrate you, Charles. You're from Florida. You've been emailing me. You've been coming to these free webinars since we started in July. I want to celebrate you. You came here authentically sharing that you weren't sleeping, you weren't doing well from the pandemic. Your busy brain score was over 70. You're now at a 30 by just doing one thing every week. I am so happy for you. You slept 9 hours for 2 days straight, and booze really makes a difference. You were up to 750 mils a day and you burned it off. I love it, skipping the booze, and now you can sleep. I'm really proud of you. And thank you for sharing that so openly. You're not alone. It's the number one habit that adults picked up in the pandemic in the Western world, not just the United States, but also in Europe, in Canada. For all of our global attendees, I know it's late, where you are. So thank you for joining live, but that's what happens. And most people, more than gaining weight, or drinking alcohol rather than eating. So thank you for doing that. I want to take your questions because, you've been here and you got in live, especially we have somebody from the UK, from Canada. Are there any questions that you have for me? You can send them privately in the Q&A or here in the chat to just the host and the panelist. Only Mandy and myself will see them. And I'm going to go through and see, did you have one step to take away? And we gave you, whether you were in type 1, type 2, type 3, or a combination, just do one step differently. You're going to be invited to the VIP Waitlist webinar next Tuesday. We cannot wait. And we'll do that. So any room for Q&A or follow-up, and let me know how you're doing. And I'm going to stop the recording while we're doing for Q&A and just end. And if you watch the recording, sign up for the VIP waitlist. I'm Dr. Romie. I'm here and committed to help all of our busy brains that have just been on fire during the pandemic, because when we brain shift, we wake up energized, we're laser focused. You can quick shift in between tasks and fall asleep and stay asleep and be that person that gets more done in one day than the average employee does in 2 weeks. So yes, all right. Now I'm